Don't talk about balls.
Come on. That was half the joke.
All right.
Ball.
What's going on, everybody? We got the Talk Away Out podcast here with Kyle, Matt, and Dustin. Today on the agenda, we got drugs, high fashion, and ball hygiene. That's a little two truths and a lie. You got to watch to find out. Hit it.
But my phone was dead. Like, it was on the charger, but it wasn't charging. So I woke up and I, for some reason, wanted to check. When it's this close, so it's fucking uncomfortable.
No, you gotta be. That all of a sudden, he sounded really good there. You gotta be like, you gotta be licking it. Like,
this is ridiculous. Just turn the volume higher. This is ridiculous.
We just don't have the right acoustics. That's all, man. I can turn it up though. You're just always gonna sound a little bit worse than us.
It's okay.
All right. Are we starting here?
Are we rolling? Are the cameras on?
I feel like I'm licking.
Oh yeah. By the way, what do you think of the new angle?
I like it.
I'm gonna try something else.
I didn't look at it at all, but I saw it when I walked in. I'm like, that table's definitely not the same way.
I mean, my OCD has just been going crazy trying to reset the same shot every single time with each podcast.
Yeah.
And it's I'm fucking losing my mind. Every single time I'm trying harder and it's like mentally getting worse.
Yeah.
So I'm fucking over it.
No.
All I was thinking when I watched that last video was how much you were probably so mad at the white. Because even I was looking at the white. I'm like, I don't mind it, but it
fucking
is
white.
Weird.
I was like, I accepted the white. It was the fucking light that I
the white
shot.
light.
Oh no!
I'm like walking back to the table and I just like, I could just move this a little bit closer, get a little bit brighter, you know? And it's fucking in the shot the entire thing, and it's fucking. Sure enough, Dustin texts me like, right away as soon as he's posted. There's a light there. It's like, fuck, man.
How to ruin Matt's day? Point out something he already knows.
Yeah.
And I love how you spent all this money to get the monitor so we can kind of take a look, and not one of us looked at it once. The entire episode.
It's far away, man. I get my shot and then I try and forget about it.
It's not on you. It's on all of us. It's just a funny thing.
It looks all right now. It looks all right.
Yeah, this is okay. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure as soon as I put it on my computer, it's going to be something stupid that I'm pissed about. But
yeah. Did your color correction? Are the lights off?
Yeah.
What else?
What else? Let's go through the
list. Is there too much
here.
natural lighting? Is that fucking with us? I don't know.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of like light on both sides. It's like a floodlight, but we'll see.
We're flooding.
I don't
the
even
light.
know what that means, but whatever.
It's because you don't have good shadows, man.
Hey. I have great shadows. What the fuck?
Yeah, you do.
That's
I'm offended.
The only person
I think that's what they used to call you in middle school, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the good shadow.
Tough neighborhood.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey.
On that note,
how's it going, guys?
You know what? This week was kind of cool. I got to help Matty boy over here with a little photo shoot. So he had trusty light holder.
Yeah, it was the best light I've ever seen. All of a sudden,
Caden had to take a nap, so we had to pull in the next guy.
Yeah, pull in the big guns.
I thought it was funny because I'm like standing there holding the light and like, yeah, kind of boring, but like whatever. I'm like, I'm helping my boy out, so I don't care. But I'm like sitting there, I'm just like making jokes because I didn't know what else to do. I'm like standing there, just keep cracking jokes, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, those pictures look good. He's like, cause he's the hype man. He's the photographer. He's like, oh yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, man.
And I'm just saying, I'm like, yeah, that lighting.
I ain't seeing a single shadow today.
Yeah. I mean, they turned out great. I'm super excited about them. They're very nice.
I think my favorite part of the whole day was there was this one shot that he wanted to take that was down like this big long puddle, and there was like little tiny spot for the girl to stand, and then he wanted me to stand in this spot that was like covered by all this bush. And for a minute we're like kind of like thinking like, how do we get here? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm large. Boom, 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 boom. I trampled the entire bush. Like I just walked right through it. I'm like, oh, this bush is weak. I'm strong. Boom,
There's just
boom,
a
boom.
little bear's nest in there now.
Right?
Yeah.
I also too, like before he like even like when he was like looking at it, before I came to that idea, I was sitting there, I'm like, oh man, there's like nowhere to walk. How am I gonna get through? It's just so much uncharted area or something.
It's just tiny fucking plants.
Yeah,
too, right? They're just tall. But
yeah, there's tall plants, but they're all thin and small
yeah.
and very weak bases. And I walked through them like it was grass. It was so easy.
I'm running all the way around the edge. I go back to like the model and I look up and Dustin's just fucking barreling towards like,
just
oh
beeline.
shit, you good, man? He's like, Yeah, I'm fine.
It was so easy.
Yo, walk backwards, hide the light. Like, come on.
Right? It was so funny.
Oh.
Yeah.
What kind of shoot was it? Was it like a family or can you say?
No, it was more like a fantasy kind of modeling shoot.
Okay.
She had like dark makeup across her eyes and stuff like that. More of like a, I don't know, like a witch or like a Viking kind of thing.
Okay.
She looked like she was from the 100. That was the joke I made.
Oh, okay.
So she looked like a
That's
grounder.
exactly what I thought it was.
Yeah, like,
when you said it in
Have you
the
seen the whole
bushes.
series?
Up until the newest season.
Okay, so you remember, I think, what's her name, Lexa or whatever?
Yep. That's
She
the
looked-
person. Yeah.
She looked just like her.
Okay.
She had dark
Seen it,
brown
so I don't
hair.
even know.
So you
had the
can't
same
fuck up
black
that
thing.
photo then.
No.
Dude,
Lex
Lex
was
was
great.
photos
fine.
The photos are pretty good. I'm excited to post them.
Yeah, so definitely was it was pretty fun though. Fucking Matt, he's taking us up there. And there's like this walkway, there's like this like cliff, and I'm like, you know what erosion is? Fat people like me cause erosion. I'm gonna fall. That's all I'm thinking.
I'm
as we're
gonna
walking.
expedite this process.
Yeah, like I'm gonna take one step and this whole thing's gonna come down. That's what I'm thinking the whole time.
Been,
Mommy nature did not
pissing
prepare for me.
Yeah, it's just all muddy, slight angle and everything, and then just a cliff into the water.
Yeah, I'm like, this is I'm carrying all the things except for his backpack. I'm like, if I go, this is gonna be really bad for everyone.
That's always a cool thing I find with like photographers because we had family photos done a couple years back and we went to Othello tunnels and it was closed and we're like, okay, like maybe we'll go somewhere else, and she's like, no, we're jumping the fence.
Yeah.
Like it was it was a foggy day. She's like, I'm never gonna get these photos again, so we're going.
You got to take your shot, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There was another time too, just as we were leaving, we went to take some photos on said ledge. And I was sitting there holding the light, and the whole time we were sitting there, I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, what would happen? Like, what would Matt do if like she just fell in the water right now? Because like that's a river.
I'd put my camera down first.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, Matt, like, there's part of it where he should be, oh my God, throw everything and dive in. And I was like, no, Matt 100% would be like,
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. Yeah,
No, he's getting that photo. He's keeping going. Like,
yeah,
no, that's the right spot. That's the right spot.
Shh, I love it. Yeah. Oh, you're doing
Yeah.
great.
No.
She's like, fucking help. Yeah.
Flick your hair.
Oh man,
I love her portraying her as this like useless woman that couldn't get out of like the water that was maybe 3 feet deep at that point. It's like the edge of the river.
Yeah.
No, she'll fuck you up.
She's a
She had knife with
she's
her
a
when she was
grounder.
pushing
Like
her
she's
shoot.
fine
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, I mean, like realistically, the river was very shallow at that point,
Yeah.
but like just the idea, like, oh my God, I'm wet, I'm dead.
Yeah, and the guy was scared to get in the bushes is gonna jump in and save her.
Yeah,
Well, see, I wore pants that day, which made me immortal, so that's why I walked through those bushes. I was like, ha, 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 you can't touch my leg hair.
I was concerned you were gonna show up with sandals. That was the one thing I'm like, oh,
Okay.
it's muddy. Like,
I don't think I've ever seen you not in sandals,
it was
especially
weird.
with pants.
He shows up with like
I-
some nice shoes, man.
Well, they weren't that nice. They were just
They were
new, but
decent.
they were like some sweet dad shoes.
Yeah.
They were like outdoor
Respect.
slippers types.
Yeah, like
they
loafers, man.
They were
nice.
fucking comfy.
I live in loafers. I love them.
The first night I bought them, I also bought some socks too that day. So I showed up to football practice with like gray sweats, some fresh Hanes, and then I threw these guys on, and all the coaches were like, "Oh shit!" All these dads are like, "That's looking comfy, bro." And I'm like,
Damn,
"Dude,
daddy."
I took the shoe off. I'm like, "Yo, fresh Hanes." I'm like rubbing my foot, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
Hey,
It was the cringiest thing, but I was like, Hope literally was making fun of me just before I left the house. She's like, "You're such a fucking dad," and I
Yeah,
was like,
that's full on dad
and
attire.
I'm like, they're dad shoes? What? It was hilarious.
My favorite is getting new socks. Like I got new just
Right?
Nike socks.
Mm.
Fucking one pair, $24.
One pair,
Oh.
Kyle. Are you
I was
serious?
feeling myself.
Oh my
I got
God.
a double.
That's
double
like my
check that day.
yearly fucking sock.
I don't
budget.
have. I
Honestly.
don't ever buy
That's
socks.
probably
But
how
I was
much-
like, I'm gonna get these, and but there was one for the right foot, one for the left foot. It's
usually how it
fitted,
goes?
and no, because normally you can put any sock
Oh,
on any
okay,
foot.
okay.
It's fitted specifically for each one. You take
Weird.
it off, and it still has the. They feel fantastic,
I
but
bet you those are so
I
nice.
only wear them when I go to basketball. I don't wear them any other time because I can't
Right.
buy another $24 pair of socks.
I was gonna say, I probably spent the same amount of money, and I have like 13 pairs now.
Like the merch is not flying at enough times to get $24 socks here. One day, boys, one day.
Oh man,
Oh no,
that
that
must be nice though.
Speaking of your mic holding, I think you were talking about the union going on strike for mic holders. I don't know exactly.
Hey,
all the
that was a
people
good
in there.
transition. Yeah, okay, yeah. So the entire film industry, man, everyone's like So it's a union, right? So everyone just went out and voted just a few days ago, and it was 98% in favor of this strike.
Jesus.
So that's
Christ.
like every single person holding a camera, every single person holding a mic, and like everything, set designers, like it's a huge industry because all of these people are working these insanely long hours. They're making like I don't want to, I'm like obviously not minimum wage. Like these are skilled workers for the most part, but they're making an okay wage, but like it's such a divide between you have this glue that's holding together the entire film industry, all of these people that are actually making the film, and then you have the stars and they're just the face and they're making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's just this huge disconnect between the two of the people, right? So it's such a wild thing. So the fact that they're all in favor, like this, like everyone is just fucking going for it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Right? So we're going to see what's going to happen here.
Right when you said that, I was trying to mind crunch the numbers.
Yeah.
And like say Black Widow, I'm going to make up numbers. Say it's 300 million they sell at the box office. Scarlett Johansson gets 100 million.
Yeah.
There's enough credits at the end of every Marvel movie that we have to fast forward to see if there's a scene. And all those people are now sharing 2/3 of that, whereas one person gets that.
Dude, like
the other actors are probably getting the rest.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a crazy amount, like crazy divide between
Right?
the top one and the rest.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other, but the people, because they're the face of the actual image, of course they're going to be making that money. Like that's why we go to see these movies. We get to enjoy all of this and watch these characters. But the fact that there's an entire network behind it, it's a weird thing, right?
Yeah, it's like Adam Levine. If he's not at Maroon 5, nobody knows who Maroon 5 is. Like I could never pretend to know anybody else.
Maroon 5?
That's hilarious.
He is Maroon 5.
No, but it is a good point though, because like there's so much money involved in these projects.
So much
money, and that's why they stress like we need to get this done. Like this is important to make this a good product because it's worth so much money. But like these people that are just like they all want to be a part of it, right? But now it's almost like selling an opportunity to be in the industry. It was like the industry doesn't pay the bills. Like just being in the industry doesn't pay the bills. I have to actually make money to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And in most of these people and that work for these production companies, they live in like Southern California, like Los Angeles. The living costs out there are crazy.
Yeah, hey.
It's like 6 figures. Oh, that's like barely making your mortgage out there. Like that's wild.
That's the equivalent of people in Vancouver. Like most people that work in Vancouver, just regular jobs, live out here in Chilliwack. So it's a minimum 2-hour drive. If it's rush hour, you're looking at 3 to 4 possibly.
Yeah.
So you just have 6 to 8 hours of unpaid time just to get to and from work, let alone when you get home to do any extra.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy too, because there is like, of course, the face of the show, they're making all of the money, but then you have like let's say camera operators, for instance. I know someone who is a camera operator and they're a Steadicam operator. So it's like the big thing on the gimbal and it's like super, like the camera floats and stuff. So I think they're like the top 5 camera operators in the whole world or North America or something like that. Like they're like, it's a prestigious thing. They actually had this like camera operators awards and everything like that. So he's so good that now he's like sought after. So he's filmed for like a bunch of these feature films. I think he filmed for Suicide Squad, blah, 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 a couple other things. But it's to the point now where people want his work just holding a camera. So he's starting to say no to people. And just most recently, they wanted him to film like out in the Bahamas or something. Like I can't remember the exact details. But he said no to it. And he's like, yeah, I kind of just want some family time. They're like, oh, just bring him. We'll pay for everything. And it's like, oh, well, my kids have a nanny too. So bring him. And just whatever he asked for, there was no questions asked. And there was no cap on the expense that they needed to bring him on.
Yeah.
And yet there's still other people on that film or like that film set that are like still making that like much lower wage, right?
Way less.
Where there is no questions asked getting this guy there. So it's like it's not even necessarily just the face of the show. There are still that lower steps to it, but it's such a crazy divide, right?
Yeah,
it's just
this strike
insane.
is exactly what they need, because in that same situation, if he would have said yes immediately, they would have been fine taking him.
Exactly.
But like you said, whatever amount of money he decided he wanted, he probably would have got. And that's what this strike is going to be. They're finally like, okay, fuck, they caught us. Yeah, we got a ton of money left. Yeah, here you go. Like we're gonna we'll pay you. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like if you don't ask for it, you're not gonna get it.
It's also really good timing for them because the film industry is hurting. They've been really screwed over with the pandemic and all of the lack of movie theater sales and everything. Like the movie market, like everything that sells right now, like highest sales asterisk in COVID era. Like everything is just in this era because it's so bad.
Yeah.
And now, the film industry really needs to start banging out movies to get their money back. And they're basically got them by the balls saying like, hey, if you don't pay us, well,
so the strike
isn't put you guys out of business
for sure a thing yet, but everyone's in favor of it. So it's kind of like in their court now, right? Like, fuck, we're all ready to just walk out.
Yeah. Negotiate or strike. Like,
yeah. So it's, what are they going to do? Right. So,
and then what you were saying with the industry as well, going on the opposite side of the people that are making the money, how we were talking about Black Widow before with Scarlett Johansson suing them over streaming.
An update with that or something?
I think she's going. Her case is almost kind of made for her now because Shang-Chi, it was released only box office, and the amount of money it made compared to the streaming numbers, that her case is now like, no, look, this is what somebody that isn't a face like me. Nobody knows this guy. He's brand new, and this is what he brought to the table. He was able to make, and I know exactly what I'm worth. Everybody here knows what I'm worth. Like in this time, how did I not get the money? This is clearly the streaming's fucked me.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Everybody thought she was kind of dead to water because like you're going against Disney, but she's got the name, she's got the popularity behind it, and she's actually got ammo now. So she might be able to fucking beat the mouse.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah, definitely pulling for her because that's such bullshit. And like you said, they made so much money off Shang-Chi. Like, it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I'm still waiting for it to go streaming somewhere. Like, I want to watch it, man.
I know. I thought it was coming to Disney Plus pretty quick, but it was only Free Guy because like they both came out relatively the same time. But
Free Guy's on there though.
It's on Disney Plus for free now.
Sick. I'm gonna watch that.
That's good.
I don't watch movies very often, but I'm gonna watch that.
Definitely the difference is how much money they made at the box office. They're like, oh yeah, it'll be 12 weeks.
Yeah.
We're gonna ride this out for a hot minute here. Sorry about the typo.
Sure. Speaking of new movies, I went to the theater the other day and I watched Venom 2. Have any of you seen the Venom movies?
No.
I saw the first and I was supremely underwhelmed. Like it was kind of like a joke. It honestly seemed like a college humor sketch for most of it. It didn't seem like it was really like a superhero or an anti-hero movie. It was Deadpool without the coolness. So I don't know how to explain that.
Interesting.
So just kind of a recap, Venom 1. So when Venom 1 came out, kind of like Kyle said, it looked sweet. It looked so cool. You just like look at the artwork and the graphics that show Venom.
I remember like the cover art or something.
Yeah. It looks crazy. And we all remember Venom from as a kid watching Spider-Man stuff. And he's just like the anti, Spider-Man, black. He looks awesome. He eats people. Like he's dope. He's so cool. Gross ass tongue.
And then add in Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Like how the fuck do you make a mistake there?
Who's a great actor. Exactly. And it's it's going to be a recipe for a good movie. But for whatever reason, the direction they go with it, it falls really flat. It really is underwhelming. A lot of the coolness is completely removed because they take this angle with Venom that on his home planet where all these symbiotes live, he's like a loser, like an outcast, and nobody likes him. And you're like, why is he a loser? And so he bonds with Tom Hardy's character because everyone thinks Tom Hardy's character is a loser too. And you're just like, you guys are supposed to be cool.
Building
and like
a story here.
And it's supposed to be like, Tom Hardy's character, he's supposed to have like a shitty life, and his anger is supposed to be what fuels Venom, but none of that's there. Venom's just already there and already like got everything, and he's just like, we're both losers, Eddie. This is how we'll get together. And I'm just like, this is stupid. I don't want to watch a movie where Venom's just some dorky loser that gets bullied by other symbiotes. That's not cool.
Yeah,
Venom's supposed to be the biggest bat. Like he looks like Spider-Man. If you look like Spider-Man, you're supposed to be an equal. You're supposed to be better than Green Goblin. You're supposed to be better than Doc Ock. You're supposed to be the fucking guy.
He's better
but
than
you're just a joke. You're fun.
He's supposed to be like jacked, huge black Spider-Man. Like he's a monster. But like, he's also chicken shit in that movie. Like he sees the other big symbiote who's like gray or whatever. He's like, oh no, we need to get away from him. It sucks, dude. It's such a lame
he's on
character.
his skin, but he can go back inside. And he's
Yeah.
oh no, a red one. And he went back inside. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, he's literally.
This is our star?
He's like a chicken shit
Man.
a symbiote. And you're like, that's just stripped all of the coolness away from the Venom character. And then, the ending of.
Because they need to make like Spider-Man the coolest. They need the sales to go in for.
I don't know. I don't know what the motivation is, man. It's it's not cool.
That's weird.
And Eddie Brock's character, he's like the guy that Tom Hardy plays, Eddie Brock, has like zero character development in that movie. He basically starts as a guy with like a shitty life, and he just like fucks it up, and he doesn't really make it better, and he doesn't really learn anything. There's no like, there's no like development or growth because he learned something, some core value. Nothing like that at all in the entire movie. So he really just like, oh shit, this happened, and then I dealt with it. Well, not really. Venom dealt with it. It was really bad. It just wasn't very good. There's a lot of like, they rely on a lot of one-liners that just aren't that funny. It was a tough movie. It really was. And the biggest gripe I have with a lot of superhero movies are when they use the villain. First off, I guess there's two mixed in here. The one being, if the villain is just the same thing as the hero and they're just like mashing each other with the same power sets, it's boring. Like Iron Man 1, Iron Man versus another Iron Man, kind of boring. Black Panther versus another dude in a Black Panther suit, it's kind of a shitty fight scene. Like those kind of things, they're not exciting. Like you want to see like Jessica Jones. She was there was a TV show, but she has like super strength, and in season 1 her villain is Mr. Purple or whatever. I don't remember what they called him, but he can literally manipulate you through pheromones that have mind control powers. So if you're within his presence, he can tell you to do something and you have to do it. Like he'll be like, put your hand in that blender and turn it on, and you're literally like, oh my god, and you'll blend your hand. Like,
okay,
how do those powers interact? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And even as far as like the watch
chemistry of the two,
right? And you watch the most recent Spider-Man. Spider-Man has all the Spider-Man powers, and he's going against Mysterio. Mysterio doesn't have any powers. He just has all this trickery and all of these VR.
I was impressed by that. That was a cool twist,
right?
Yeah.
But that's a completely different set of abilities and circumstances that you bring to the table that the other person has to somehow defeat with their set. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You watch this movie and it's two big fucking CGI blobs going. One's gray and one's black, and you half the time can't even tell who's who. You can't tell.
See, I feel like they're just capitalizing on the fact that Spider-Man is like the main superhero right now. Like my son is in kindergarten right now, and more than half the kids have Spider-Man backpacks. Like it's just Spider-Man everything. He's the main superhero. He's now the next superstar.
And that's the thing.
And they're just capitalizing, just fucking spewing everything.
And you can add that to the list if they made a Venom movie with no Spider-Man. That's weird.
Yeah.
Just filler,
it's
man.
Useless.
Yeah,
it's just
and so the other gripe was the big gray CGI villain. Anytime you have a big gray CGI villain that has zero development, he has zero motive that you can see develop over time, you don't care about him. He just shows up for the big fight at the end, and that's literally it.
Yeah,
that's a shitty character and a shitty movie because of it. And that's literally like,
wasn't that like the basis of the first Hulk movie or something? Didn't he just fight another colored Hulk and it was shit?
A gray CGI Hulk.
Yes,
that's why Hulk sucked. So just
okay.
off the top of my head, movies that have shitty gray CGI villains: Hulk, Venom, Venom 2. Well, I guess he's red. Sorry, we'll take that one off. Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, the Superman movie, Batman v Superman, Justice League, Wonder Woman, like
everything in DC.
I can literally just keep going off. Like there's so many of them, and they suck because of it. That's not a good. Like they're all shitty movies because their villain is just big gray CGI and it's fucking trash.
That's because the VXF artists are getting paid shit. So like, just make it gray. It's easy to shade,
exactly,
right?
Right?
Fucking make the movie a little bit shittier.
So lame. So anyways, I go and see the second one, and the second one I'm thinking, okay, so we're basically taking the exact same characters because the villains are very insignificant in Venom 1. And we have, what's his name? Woody Harrelson coming into the picture, playing Cletus Cassidy, who's like a psychopath. He's like a murderer. So he's actually a murderer. and somehow he is going to get a symbiote and become Carnage, who's like basically if Venom was just more murderous, that's Carnage. And he's in the comic books, he's dope too. Crazy Superman villain, awesome. I'm not really like in tune with the comics enough to know how much like Venom and Carnage really beef, but like still really cool, and he looks badass. And to the movie's credit, all of the trailers, because they have like Carnage in it, looks badass. And it fucking sucked again. This Venom 2 sucks. It sucks so much. It's super boring. The one-liners are so fucking cringe. Half the time they're like Eddie Brock's walking and Venom's like head sticks out of his shoulder and he says something, "Hey Eddie," and it just like makes a quip, and it's just like not funny at all. And then once again, Eddie Brock has zero growth the entire fucking movie. Woody Harrelson's like good for what it is, but character doesn't really have much going on for it either. He's good at being weird and crazy looking. So
yeah,
like,
he's always a decent character
Yeah.
in every movie he's in.
yeah.
but
So like he nailed
always like a
that.
side person.
But he had like a really ugly haircut, and
Doesn't he naturally?
I mean, I don't think he has hair at all.
Yeah.
He got an ugly hair implant.
There
That's
we
pretty
go.
tough.
Yeah.
But now we're watching a movie with Venom versus Carnage, and to be honest, most of the final fight scene, you don't really get a sense of what shots they hit each other with actually hurt each other. It's just all of a sudden, oh, that one hurt this time, but like he just put his arm through you 5 seconds ago and you didn't flinch. So like there's no stakes. You just don't feel any weight to what's happening. And I won't give any spoilers, but then the way that the final fight scene happens, like the way it ends, fucking sucked too. And the whole thing, I was just like, I'm leaving that movie. I'm like, this might be the worst superhero movie I've seen since like Fantastic Four came out like 10 years ago or something. Like it was that bad.
Fair.
This is a problem I've been finding with movies in general. Like other than Marvel, because for some reason they've kind of been able to develop characters in one movie every single time.
Mm-hmm.
But in movies in general, they don't really have enough time. You have the hour and a half to 2 hours to make somebody fall in love, get to the end, and either get their heart broken or whatever. You have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Whereas like in TV shows like Game of Thrones, you go from Daenerys at the beginning, you see her for like 5-6 years to the point where she turns into the, like, I guess spoiler, I don't know.
Not
Everybody should have
spoiler
seen this.
anymore.
But where she goes and just destroys the city. Obviously it's a little bit out of her character, but the only reason that people know it is because they fell in love with her. They seen her for so long,
Yeah.
and then this huge thing happens and everybody's affected because it feels like it happened to you.
Well, you understand where she's coming from when she made that choice, because there's weight to what's been going on, right?
And yeah, and you see why she did it, but why she shouldn't. You see all the different aspects because of the time.
Yeah.
But in an hour and a half to 3 hours, you're never going to get that development. Like it's just impossible. Then I think that's the biggest thing with Marvel is that they're making movies, but it's a TV series. That's what it is. They've turned it into a TV series because they've made so many of them and they all play off of each other. It's basically one continuous season.
Yeah. It's just like the
Interesting.
biggest like TV series ever. Just all
Yeah.
the Marvel movies.
The highest budget, that's for damn sure.
But yeah, it's just and kind of like what you said though, that Marvel has found a way, because even Shang-Chi, all those characters, new characters, very, very few returning characters in that series or in that movie. Yet they still are able to develop these characters, make you like these characters, and I can't wait to see them again. How did they do that in one movie? And then, you know, DC's out here doing shit most of the time. And this is still Marvel, this Venom series, but this, you know, outside of the MCU version of Marvel, it was ass.
Wow.
But
Anyways.
moving on to non-superheroes. So have you guys noticed, have you guys been following in Stanley Park, the coyote problems?
I've been aware of it.
I know
So
nothing.
basically, there's been, I think in the last year, there's been 45 different coyotes have like bit somebody.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So
In Stanley Park?
yeah.
Yeah. Global
So-
warming, man. They're coming. They're coming from the forest.
I was
bro.
like, I've
So-
never even seen a coyote out
yeah.
there.
You've never seen a coyote? It's basically a homeless dog.
Well, no, I've
That's
seen
what-
a
that's what a
coyote, just
coyote
not in
is.
Stanley Park.
Oh, yeah. I think up until now they didn't really come around, but
Yeah.
now people are feeding them extra.
Yeah. A couple of people have been fined, haven't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
There's
big
some on my
fines.
leg.
But
Continue.
it's okay. So a couple years ago, Vancouver was like a big proponent on the ones that voted against grizzly bear hunting and trophy hunting, and then in general hunting, because they feel that bears are too low a population. They want them there to be more and more bears. So these 45 coyotes that nipped at people's legs, they've euthanized 35 of them. That's their plan, to kill basically everyone that touches somebody. They're going to kill in that regard. But they want overpopulation of bears. Like, one bear attack is not going to leave somebody like calling the news to say, hey, look, they're going to die. Like, you don't want more and more bears.
Well,
but because it doesn't
different,
affect
though.
them. Yeah, because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah, because
in
like
Stanley
bears
Park.
are mostly foragers, right? Like they'll eat berries and shit all day, and then they'll go out and like eat some fucking fish or kill an animal if they have to. But they only kill living things when they absolutely have to, or if they've been attacked.
And this is the thing though, is for people in Vancouver and like for us, we're not really gonna run into bears because of that exact situation. But like I have family that lives in northern BC, and they have bears and moose walking through their yards
everywhere.
and they have their dog that is trained that when the bear come through, you got to run inside.
Yeah.
So you can easily, if it starts getting overpopulated out there, those are the only people that are actually affected by this, and they're not getting nipped. They're gonna get attacked by a bear, and nobody will care because it's not in Vancouver. The people voting on shit that doesn't affect them.
Yeah, well, I know like within hunting and everything, there's different zones and bylaws depending on where you are. So like you could be allowed to shoot bears in one area and then not in the other. Like I know out in Alberta, all you need is a gun and you're allowed to go and shoot a coyote.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just complete rodents out there. I think even wolves at some point, it's pretty easy to be allowed to kill a wolf out there.
I don't know if it's law, but I know in Yarrow, if there's a coyote near a farm, like I know farmers that will go out
farmers
in the middle of the night and they go find coyotes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that like in Vancouver they voted to ban the trophy hunt, so whatever time that would be, but they want to ban hunting of grizzly bears entirely. So nobody can hunt grizzly bears.
Yeah, I mean grizzly bears are like mystical beasts, dude. They look
mystical
so cool.
beasts that will eat the shit out of you. They'll fuck up 1,000-pound moose.
Yeah, I'd kill a black bear, but man, a grizzly bear? Yeah, I'm on board. Don't kill the grizzly bears.
You ain't killing either. You might be you'll kill a coyote. You ain't killing a black bear. You're gonna. I've seen different bears like up close, like in Whistler and stuff. When you actually go into the bush a little bit, like you'll see a bear once in a while, and it's scary as fuck.
Do you want to hear a fun bear story?
Yes.
Okay, so I used to go out camping with my buddy all the time. Like we used to call it surviving. Like we wouldn't bring tents or anything. It was just like whatever we can fit in a backpack. So it was like a blanket.
Sounds terrible.
Dude, it was so fun. Dude, it was so
The
fun.
opposite of glamping.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, fucking rough house, just like real camping, right? Like a couple cans of beans and shit. I think we'd bring like a pipe, some weed, and then like a blanket, and that
Are
was
you
it.
guys naked too, or?
No, well, I mean, later.
That's a TV show.
Later, right?
You're the original naked and afraid.
Exactly. But yeah, no, so we'd go there, and like the first thing we'd do, we'd start cutting down some trees, set up like a little A-frame tent. And like if it was, sometimes we'd have like a main teepee in the middle, and then we'd have two A-frames coming off the side, make a fire in the middle so that we're like, it's like a little home. It would be kind of cool. So once we had the camp set up, then we'd go out, get a couple of big sticks, make some spears just in case, right? Yeah, so like there was this one fucking time we're out there, we're just hanging out all day. We're like in our little teepee, just kind of chilling out. And I go up to go take a piss. All of a sudden I like stand up, I'm pissing, and I look up, and like a fucking bear like on the other side is just right the fuck there, just eating some berries or just doing bear shit. And
Bear
just
shit.
fucking bear shit, you know? Yeah, and I was like, oh fuck. I just dropped right down like, Mark, don't fucking panic. There's a fucking bear on the other side of this make-believe wall we just built. He's like, no, man, you're full of shit. I'm like, just shut the fuck up, dude. There's a fucking bear here. He's like, what? So he gets up. Fucking now the bear is like, oh, there's things on the other side of this pile of sticks. So he fucking stands right the fuck up. And it's like, he didn't look too aggressive or anything, but like this bear's just like fucking staring at us. We're like, we're going to have to fucking fight this bear. Like this is like we
Mark,
look
grab
at
the spears.
Dude, you have no idea how serious
Put
it
down the
fucking
Cheetos
got.
and grab the spears right now.
Dude, it's like, I'm gonna grab some fucking pots and pans. You grab the fucking spear. Or no, maybe it was the opposite. I think I grabbed the spear. So I'm like holding it in the air and I'm fucking just waving it, smacking trees and shit. He's smacking these pots and pans. We're trying to scare the fuck out of this bear. And the bear's like, what are you guys fucking doing? He just fucking walks closer. And like, I swear to God, this bear was so fucking close. I could have like pet his fucking nose. Like, good boy. Don't fucking kill me. Yeah. And then he's like, just fucking staring at us. It's like, oh my God, like I gotta fucking stab this thing. Like, what the fuck's about to happen?
Meanwhile, it's like fucking Baloo from Jungle Book, and he hears the pots pan. He's like, boop, 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 I want to be like you.
Dude, yeah, it was insane. And then, yeah, the bear just kind of is like, yeah, you guys are fucking idiots. And then he just slowly walks off. And we're just like, oh my God. And just, I think for the next like 3 or 4 hours, we're like taking turns being watched and stuff. We're just like every 5 minutes, all right, you're on watch. And go up, fucking do a little perimeter check, go back to our teepee, and fucking we're like, all right, man. Like,
you guys aren't even enjoying
bears
each other anymore. You're like, just like, you need to make sure that I'm safe for 10
Yeah.
minutes. And then I'll make
So
sure you're
food
safe.
rations too in case we can't get out of here.
It's like 10 minutes before they were thinking about taking mushrooms. They're like, no fucking way. This ain't
That'd be
ending
too
nice.
scary.
That's hilarious.
was
By the way, you told that
wild.
story too. I'm just like imagining, like maybe I got it wrong, but like you like get up, you like go to take a piss, and like you're like midstream, and you see the bear, and you're like, and you're like ducking, but you're still like going. It's like, you're like in like this plank position, so you're not lying in your own piss, but you're like,
And it's like the middle of the night when you're trying to pee and not make any noise, and you're like aiming for the little piece of the tree. It's like,
Yeah, man. Dude, you have no idea. I just remember fucking looking over, and like the bear's minding his own business. Like, I don't even think he knew we were there. And like, I look at him as he's looking at me, and he's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing here?"
you guys want to hang out?
Yeah, this is my neck of the woods, man. I'm a bear.
For the
This is the
bare
thing.
necessities.
It's up to the bear.
Yeah.
Whatever happens next is up to the bear.
Dude,
There's like nothing
I
we're
thought I
doing
was gonna
here.
have to fight a fucking bear.
right. Shove that fucking spear.
You thought you were
Yeah.
about to lose to a bear. There was
Yeah.
it's like fight
man.
until I drop.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, It
hilarious.
was wild.
Speaking of Matt doing mushrooms. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I did
We're
want
back
to
to
talk about
Domino's.
so there was the news that Seattle legalized, was it, I don't know how to say the word.
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin.
Yeah, man, just mushrooms.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
Now, they're not like the first one. There's like a bunch of other
Well, it's
places that
basically
have done it.
decriminalized in Canada too, from my understanding. But
Yeah.
like there's actual therapy places that you can go and do this.
Yeah. And I guess that was a conversation I was thinking. I was like, why are these not that like drugs are illegal because they're presumably harmful. But if we're in a place where we like acknowledge that some of these things aren't that harmful, and
Yeah.
there's probably
Most
more
of them.
harmful things like, sorry?
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most drugs aren't that harmful. Like
Yeah.
heroin, pretty harmful.
Yeah.
like
Like there's ones like that I get it, right?
Yeah.
Like, but then like there's things that are pretty harmful, like cigarettes that are just like mainstream. Flash your ID.
Yeah.
But like, what does that do? Just like kills
Because
you.
you can't make money off of mushrooms.
And the thing, even with heroin, morphine is the exact same thing, and you can
It's
be
literally the
prescribed
exact same.
morphine. So the only reason heroin is a real thing is because it's illegal. If it wasn't illegal, nobody would make it. You wouldn't need to buy it from the back door. They would just have morphine. Cocaine is, or no, not cocaine. Speed is Adderall. It's
Mhm.
just, you can't always get a prescription for Adderall. It's a lot fucking easier now, but so people want speed, so they go. Most of the drugs are only available or still real because they're illegal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then people, because so like a class A drug or a schedule 1 drug or something like that is like high potential for abuse. So like Adderall, you pop a pill and you're like, you get the effects for a little while and then it kind of wears off. But the problem is, instead of doing that, they're taking the same general compound and then they're fucking smoking it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, now you just fucking 10x that high, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, mushrooms are like, I'm on board for mushrooms. Mushrooms are like good for the soul. I'm fully on board for microdosing, fucking macrodosing, everything. Like it's good, man. It's it's a different thing.
Coming from a perspective where I don't do drugs, I don't want to do drugs. Drugs just don't have a place in my life. That's not because I'm some like pretentious do-gooder. That's just because I don't like things that change the way my mind works.
Yeah.
I personally like to stay in control, and I have this, fear that if, even if I got drunk, I've never been drunk. If I got drunk, what would my mind do? How I wouldn't be in control of my mental state because I wouldn't be fully coherent. I don't like that idea. I don't like that concept. Therefore, I've never done these things.
Especially with like you being a bigger, stronger guy. If you happen to get drunk and you turn out you're an angry drunk,
Can you imagine?
you can do damage
His
very
rage just
easily.
gets out. just slightly tipsy. He's like, yeah, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
I've had so many people speculate on what kind of person I would be when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
From like my girlfriend thinking I'd be like a crybaby little bitch, to some people saying I'd be an angry person that would get super aggressive, to some people think I'd be the best person they ever met. And I was like, hey, I like that one the most, so we'll stick with that. But literally have no idea. But regardless of that, I don't, not do drugs because I think that they're bad, that I think they're like, we shouldn't have drugs in our community. I don't really give a shit what people really do. Like, I think things that obviously that are highly concentrated and dangerous and that can actually kill you, yeah, maybe those things shouldn't be readily accessible.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. But for the most part, drugs like mushrooms, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
if you want to change your life for the better, just do a bunch of mushrooms by yourself and fucking just think about your life, and you'll realize all the bullshit you're doing with your life, and you'll go, oh, I need to change this. That's not fucking working for me. That's how you fix your life. You
so
do mushrooms.
I want to try like mushrooms, like acid, those kind of things. But I have me and my entire family is addicted to everything. They've always been like, we're just at like 60. If you're not dead, you quit everything. Pretty much. That's how my family goes.
Fair.
it's tough.
So for that part, I don't want to try something, really like it, get addicted, but also I feel like I'm a little bit like, my brain is a little bit psycho, and I feel like if I open it up, I don't know if I can close that.
You'd be the person that's naked on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've had different people in my family where they start doing drugs and
it triggers mental illness.
Yeah, the mental illness drops off immediately. So that's the only reason I haven't done any of the stuff.
That's reasonable.
Well, I find like weed is such a weird thing too, because weed is like a psychoactive thing. Like we have actual cannabinoid receptors inside of our body that like weed exactly replicates that. But there's tons of people, and if you smoke weed and it triggers something, you can have psychosis for the rest of your life just from like a tiny little joint hit. I find that pretty crazy.
That is
I think
pretty crazy.
that's I think that's also you already had it in your brain, and it was just accentuated it to bring it out early.
Yeah.
But,
so like
yes,
it may have never triggered your entire life, and then all of a sudden you just happen to smoke weed, and then boom, you're fucking never the same for the rest of your life. I find that crazy.
And for that reason, I think it's, as much as I don't really care that people do drugs, I do think that kids need to chill, because your brain's still developing into your 20s.
Yeah.
And if your brain's not fully developed and you can't that's the thing. Every 18-year-old, especially 18-year-old guys, I thought I was the smartest fucking kid in the room when I was 18.
For sure.
I mean, it's not that I don't think that
I
now.
still do,
But like, I look back on my 18-year-old self and think, dude, you're a fucking idiot. You didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Like, so kids always have so much confidence. They always want to be treated as adults. They always think like, oh my God, why are you treating me like this? I'm 18. Like, I get things now. Like, you always think you're so much more advanced than you really are, even if your brain's still developing. You're prone to making terrible decisions for like a good 20 years. And a lot of us 30 years. So should kids have access to them? Of course not. I don't think that's good at all. I think, I don't think most of the, youth that I do know, I don't think many of them do a lot of drugs. They probably, most of them smoke weed because that's like the most common one.
Kids are doing less drugs nowadays because there's just so much more information from what I've heard. But it's also like, these are statistics, and it's pretty easy to lie on statistics, right?
And like, I know what goes down at parties. Like, we've all been there. Like, I know most of them have probably smoked weed. If they don't do it on a regular basis, they have at least done it once.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of kids, especially like in our community, that have probably done mushrooms a couple times. Like those things, like, I'm not like, oh my God, these kids are doing drugs, but like, I am not surprised by these things when I hear them.
Yeah, I find them like Molly or ecstasy. That's the one that's like considered so chill, and it's like not that bad for you. It's like, it fucks with your brain. Like it's not that good for you. Like, like
you have a full day after where you no longer want to live.
There's like therapies out there that are like, they're giving people like Molly and stuff like that to like for therapeutic reasons, and there's an understanding behind that, because it's like the love drug and it can help you deal with your emotions and stuff. But people are using that as an excuse, and then like going out and fucking partying, and it's like, it really fucks with you though, right?
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of like my point, in the sense that like, it's not that I think, oh, like, these kids, you're not old enough to be doing drugs, like, it's for adults. it's more like your brain's not
Yeah, you
developed
don't
yet.
understand
Like,
the implications.
You think it's chill because maybe you did it and nothing seemingly happened.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's happening in your brain, the chemistry of your brain. You can't tell that. You just start feeling differently sometimes. Or maybe you don't feel differently. You just grow and things didn't grow the way they would have grown. But you would have never have known that because you're stunted growth because you don't know what's happening, and none of us will ever, well, not ever know, but probably not in our lifetime will they have enough information about the brain. Like they can't even tell 100% if you have a concussion yet. They can just guess based off baseline testing, but they don't know until you're dead, and they can pick your brain apart and tell. But like other than that, like how are you going to know if, hey, I started taking shrooms when I was 15 and my brain got really fucked up and now I'm just like this space cadet? I could have been maybe someone that was smart and coherent and aware of society, and now I'm that guy in the room going, hey, yeah. Like when I meet people like that, I think, hey, maybe you did drugs too early. Maybe something happened. Maybe it wasn't the drug. Maybe it was something else. I don't know your life, but like people just, I think kids need to chill on that. But that being said, that point removed, once you're an adult and your brain's developed, make all the decisions you want. Like people have been doing these things for years.
There's a pretty famous saying, every man has two lives. The second one starts when you realize you have one. And that's kind of like, so that's kind of like,
that's deep as fuck.
You like, once you realize that you're not invincible, then it's kind of like, oh shit, yeah, I'm an adult now. Like I can fucking die. Like my actions have consequences.
Absolutely.
And that's a pretty big deal, right?
Absolutely.
So you don't really realize that until you're old enough.
Right?
It's a pretty big deal.
I think the big one with kids and doing drugs, I don't know for sure, but I think part of the reason that it's going down is the more openness that everybody kind of has. Like with my kids, I know I'm not going to be like, don't smoke weed. Why? Because I said so. No, it's don't smoke weed specifically for this. Like, it's going to be fun. You're going to like it, but you can't do it yet because of these reasons.
Yeah.
And if you do, this is the consequence. I'm not going to do anything to you because you're doing this all to yourself.
Right? You'll be dumb for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Whereas I know a lot of my friends' parents, they said, don't drink because it's bad. Don't smoke weed because it's bad. Don't do this. Don't do drugs. So we were all smoking weed at 13. We weren't like thinking like this is some crazy thing that's going to affect our brain.
Right.
We just thought we're not supposed to do this. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. And
hide it from your parents because they're fucking stupid and they don't know.
Like as one of the rare people my age that has never touched any of these things, I didn't do it because of what they told me in DARE class. DARE was bullshit. I didn't give a shit about DARE.
They tell you how to get it, where to roll, how to roll a joint.
What does it smell?
We
They
had
tell
kids
you everything
failing
about it,
DARE
man.
back in grade 5. Like this class was not good for that. It did not work.
Right? They like gave us like a bag of weed to like smell it so we knew what to smell for.
That's good.
Can you imagine? Yeah, they're like
that purple kush, baby.
Oh no.
Oh.
But yeah, that class was a waste of time. Well, not complete waste of time, but for the purpose of their goal, it was a waste of time to try and get me to stay away from drugs forever. I stay away from drugs because of my own reasons that I developed growing up. That has nothing to do with it. So I just feel like the way they teach don't do drugs because it's bad. Drugs are bad.
Well, so there's a disconnect between like drug use and then being addicted to something too, right? Because there's a lot of studies that suggest like addictions kind of fall in line of like kids who were like didn't receive enough love as a young age or something like that, and they're looking for that proper escape. And like I know like that's pretty much why I was smoking weed. It's like fucking just get the fuck away from my parents and just try and just get high with my buddies, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of addiction actually has to do with just that escape of like not receiving what you really need down inside.
Yeah.
So in this day and age of like maybe kids really are doing less drugs, it's because people are more open and people are talking about things more. People are able to share their feelings more. So it's kind of this thing where, well, maybe people are doing drugs, but it's not as addictive anymore because it's an understanding that, oh, okay, yeah, I can enjoy this and then move on to other things. It's not necessarily this vice, this thing that I need in order to function in society.
Like having a beer at dinner. It's not, you're not an alcoholic, you're just having a beer.
Right.
Having 6 beers at dinner, maybe take a second look, right?
Yeah,
Oh, you
There's a reason
microdose?
for
That's
that.
fine, whatever. Oh, you just get fucking blitzed every night? Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still microdosing? It's all day. I don't know what the micro.
Microdosing doesn't mean just a little bit all day.
It's actually
Eat 'em
so
like
funny.
chips.
This one time, I was hanging out with this guy. It's actually a mutual friend of ours, our buddy Oliver, that we met back in the BP days.
That man likes to trip.
Yeah, Ollie's dope.
We should probably save this moment just in case we need to bleep out that name. Don't know exactly how much this guy wants us out there because I knew him as well.
He just one time we were having a conversation and he basically told me, he's like, I can't have conversations with people about life that haven't had mushrooms before. And I was just like looking at him like, I mean, I guess conversation's over then. He was just like low key shading me, but I was just like, you just don't know. And I was like, all right, man.
You've never seen the geometric patterns on the other side of the universe, bro. You gotta see them. They're wild.
I still remember. I just thought that was so funny. I was like, you know what? This guy's a good time. That was my thought, bro. This guy's a good time.
Oh man,
good guy to listen to music.
What do you guys think of the Facebook going down?
Lols.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice, man. It was
Yeah.
Kyle texting me, be like, hey, can you get on to Instagram? I was like, no. And then I just went back to what I was doing.
I thought you guys were just ignoring me in the group chat. I was like, I'm fucking, you didn't even, like, I'm on fucking not even read. Like, what the fuck, man?
Didn't even notice.
Yeah, Britt was trying to post and she's like, I swear it was going to be up at 10. I swear. It just is not showing up. I don't know what's going on.
That's funny. Oh. So I was looking into it too, because like that one post you shared, once I started like, going online, I started seeing it everywhere where it's like someone deleted blah 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 blah. So Facebook isn't down; it's literally gone. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like I gotta figure this out, right?
Yeah,
so I'm like reading into all this shit. So like that sentence alone is the equivalent of, let's say Facebook was a house and someone stole the fucking numbers off that house and someone walked up and went, "Where's the fucking house? It's vanished. It's gone. It's never gonna be back again." And I found that funny because it's pretty accurate.
But it's like you gotta give it to whoever made that headline.
Oh, dude, genius.
Because I can't even imagine how many retweets, how many likes, and they probably got verified just off that one thing.
All you need is
and like, what was that picture? That picture was all these routing numbers.
That too. I'm like,
that picture was so fake. Yeah, it could literally be anything. The odds this guy got into like Facebook's computer system and was able to like take a screenshot of their routing numbers. Give me a break.
Potentially, there was some fuckery going on because even the people who are like the techs that fix Facebook, they couldn't even verify their badges to be able to go in and actually work on Facebook. So there's potential that there was some sort of breach or something, and maybe they just shut the whole thing down and didn't tell anyone. So they're like, yeah, this whole thing is fucking just gone for a little bit. We're not fucking saying a word.
Some 13-year-old super nerd. He's popped up on the FBI's radar.
Yeah.
I honestly expect that to be a headline in the next like year or so. That's something.
It happens all the time. Right? Like in the cryptocurrency world, there's been a handful of hacks where like a 13-year-old kid hacked an entire exchange or something like that, stole $98 million, and then like gave most of it back the next day and keeps like 10% or something like that. Just like fucking hacking clout, right?
Right.
It's wild. It's wild. When you grow up like that, it's a new language and you learn how to manipulate, and it's like slang words in a different language almost. And you know how to fuck the system.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like, Facebook they already lost $7 billion in stock revenue because of that hack. So, would they want to come out and say, hey, everything was breached and all your information's been leaked?
No,
probably not. So they're not going to say anything. It's just, oh yeah, Facebook just went down for like 6 hours. First of all, I didn't even know it was 6 hours. I thought it was like half an hour, but regardless, yeah, in a year from now, what's stopping it from being like, Kyle just can't turn his phone off.
No, it's off. It's just vibrating.
What's stopping them for coming out like, oh, hey, yeah, so remember that time Facebook went out for like 6 hours? Yeah, it's because this happened and then it got shut down as a security measure.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like that's very realistic.
Dude,
that
yeah,
could come
if
out.
Facebook did go down, though, that'd be fucking crazy. Like, I don't have anyone's phone numbers. I'd be fucked. Like, I can't even call anyone.
We would no longer have family members.
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't even know them
anymore.
Now.
I was actually thinking about that with Hope. I was like, realistically, if Facebook went down right now, what would happen? Like, you'd lose touch with like those few random people that you never fucking talk to anyway.
See, I don't even use Facebook, but my Messenger is what I use, and like Instagram quite a bit is like just for my business side and everything. But yeah, it's wild, man.
Yeah, if Instagram goes with Facebook, then I got a problem. But if it's just Facebook,
yeah, whatever.
Probably figure it out.
Yeah.
I had one last question I wanted to ask you guys before we end it today. It's a little buzz in the internet's world, and it's kind of a question that's maybe it's a little overdone, but it's it's come up again. People were talking about this girl, Emma Chamberlain. She was a YouTuber, and she got invited to the Met Gala, and she was doing the whole fashion thing. Now, I know she's really big into fashion, so it makes sense that someone that's, connected to the youth, that's going to bring in more younger viewers, that has that, I don't want to say she has a fashion pedigree because she's just like an Instagram YouTube person, but like she's really into fashion.
She's on the leading edge of it.
She really likes to experiment with fashion and, and do that stuff. So it makes sense to bring someone like that has that following to the Met Gala, to bring that extra stuff, to make people that are young care about this. Because all the old people that care about it, like I don't care about the Met Gala. I don't know anyone that does. But if you can get those younger people inspired to want to do that, it just perpetuates your industry, which is good for them. Now, the question is should someone like her even go there? Are influencers celebrities? I thought only celebrities were allowed to go to this.
Influencers are bigger than celebrities, in my opinion.
It's the like celebrity 2.0, man. It's like what the fuck are celebrities? What did they do that's so special?
Who else was getting talked about? Kim and Kanye, who are Instagram famous. Like they have everything else, but without their following, like they're just on their whatchamacallit. That's it. They're influencers.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting conversation, because I feel like when I say it's been overdone, I'm talking like this is a conversation that can stem back to like when TV first came out. When people were on the radio, and all of a sudden you got people on TV. Well, they're not radio stars. The radio stars are the celebrities.
Radio killed the radio star.
And then you move on. You're like, oh, like you're on TV, you're not a movie star.
Yeah.
And there's always like that next like echelon that people think that the new thing or the old thing or the smaller thing, they're not as big as the other one. So therefore you're not celebrities. And it's like, there's a simple comparison to make that be like, all thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs. Whereas like all celebrities are influencers, but not all influencers are celebrities. Because there are some people that maybe they're influencers in the hair and makeup industry, but they're not a celebrity. You don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah. Well, I know like food influencers. They have like between 5 to 20,000 followers on Instagram or TikTok, things like that, and like they have push and clout, and they can like they basically eat for free everywhere they go because
and they make enough money to do this.
Exactly.
Their job is an influencer.
But like once you take that next step up, no one knows who they are, kind of thing, right? Like they couldn't go to the Met Gala.
They're not Jake Paul.
Yeah,
exactly. Very much a celebrity,
but they're still making a decent living off of this, right?
Exactly.
And it's what they do every day, and they're literally influencing people's opinions.
And because it seemed just so obvious, like of course that influencers can be celebrities. That's how I look at it. Why is it even like, who cares who's going to these things? Like,
who cares about Met Gala? like fashion
people.
Who cares about fashion in general? Like fashion isn't even real. All of the
bigger question
all
than
the
just
outfits,
about the Met Gala.
All of the outfits that are worn at the Met Gala, where else are they worn? Nowhere. And they will never, ever, ever be worn again. It's
I
not
understand
real.
the runways and stuff like that, because it's supposed to think outside of the box of different ways to do things.
It's
so it's
to
like,
make people watch. That's
yeah,
it.
even the question of like, oh, like should she be there? And it's like that question is only brought up because they want people talking about the fucking Met Gala.
Nobody should be there. It shouldn't even be a real thing. It's just a hall.
Kyle
people dressed ugly.
Kyle
they
doesn't
all
like
dress
fashion,
like shit.
so fuck the Met Gala.
Yeah.
No,
shouldn't exist.
What fashion does anybody actually like? Are they all gonna? Is anybody gonna wear anything that was at the Met Gala? Not a single person is gonna wear that.
I think
It's
anywhere.
gonna change people's
I
perceptions.
think
That's what I
Kyle
see it.
has a better question to ask. Is high fashion even relevant if high fashion is not something that normal people wear to be trendy?
Whoa, that's a good one.
That's the question Kyle had in his head when he changed the direction of this entire conversation.
Yeah, I was done with celebrity because you said Jake Paul's a celebrity, not an influencer. He's an influencer. He became a celebrity. But yeah, if it's the same idea as what you said before with crypto. The reason that it's real is because we believe it and we want it's got a backing behind it. Fashion isn't real because we believe it, but there's nothing behind it. There's nothing saying that wearing these outfits are going to make you any more money. There's nothing saying wearing these outfits are going to get you more followers or more people. It's just saying wear this outfit, you can come to this one hall.
Yeah, high fashion
Congrats.
is for us plebs to talk about, and it's just like content, right?
Right?
That's it.
And pretend that it's cool.
Yeah.
Because like even like like to Kyle's credit, like even some of the things you see on there, they're wild.
Yeah.
And my thought process,
I'd feel like a fucking idiot. Like,
Yeah.
I hope everyone looks as stupid as me going to this fucking costume
Right?
party that every $100,000 people or like $100,000 cameras are gonna be on me all fucking day, and it's
Right.
like, fuck.
and there's a certain realm of fashion that's up there where you look at those things and you think, yeah, like I can see like Ryan Reynolds walking to the red carpet in that, and you're like, yo, like he looks fly as fuck, and you're like, yeah, that to me, that's what I think of when I think of like good fashion. I think of that, like
just a good tailored suit,
a good outfit,
Yeah.
a nice
timeless.
a nice outfit. When I think of like, shit that Lady Gaga does, that's kind of more of a joke than fashion to me. But then when you think about, some of these high fashion things, and you just think of these wild creations, and you hear them say, oh my God, that's so avant-garde, or oh, that it's just so progressive and changes it's like all these people, they're so like, I don't know, I'm just gonna throw Louis Vuitton's name out there. I don't know shit about them, but like these guys they've made so many clothes in their day that they're trying so hard to like come out with the new thing and have this groundbreaking outfit.
Yeah.
And it's like, you look ridiculous. Yeah. This is not cool. This isn't going to be cool. I'm not going to see the popular kids at my school wearing this. I'm not going to see CEOs wearing this, or like, it's just, these are ridiculous clothes because you can't think of anything else, and you've done enough drugs because you're bored trying to think of something else. And this is the garbage that you've come up with, but it's high fashion. You just wouldn't understand.
And to what you started off with, that's why that influencer is there, because otherwise her wearing it is the reason that people think that this is fashion. If she wasn't wearing it, none of her followers would ever see it. They wouldn't know it was like supposed to be fashion.
Fashion is just wearing whatever the fuck you want and then being confident about it.
Right?
Like the king's invisible cloak or something like that. That's like a famous, I'm butchering it already, but it's a famous story about like the king wanted to look the best possible, and they ended up giving him like they made him go out naked, and they're like, oh, it's invisible and it looks amazing. Doesn't it look so good? And he's like, yeah, this does look good. And he walks out into the crowd of people and he's fucking naked. And everyone's like, oh, wow. And it's like, you're fucking naked in front of people and you look like a moron because you're doing it in the name of looking better than everyone else.
Right. I think you nailed it on the head, though. It literally is just about confidence, because one of the things that you hear all the time these days is a little music background. I was like, what the hell is that? No, the one thing that you hear all the time about is anytime a male celebrity wears a dress in public or posts a picture of him in a dress, everyone's like, oh my God, what a fashion icon. It's just because he was confident in the dress and he wasn't insecure despite all of the, homophobic people that are going to bash him for wearing the dress. He was confident in it. That's why it was a big deal. Other than that, that's a normal skirt. I see like 20 girls wear that in a week. I don't care about that dress.
Well, and it's like progressive because Western culture is just so far behind. Like
Exactly.
Dresses are pretty common everywhere else in the world for men.
Yeah.
Dresses just seem uncomfortable for anybody. I've never understood
I
anybody
always wondered,
that wears a dress.
I'm like, when a girl wears a dress, I'm like, doesn't it get dirty up there? It's just like,
see,
you can't wear dresses in the cold.
I equate it to wearing like a robe. When I wear a robe and I'm naked under my robe, the boys are free. It's equivalent to a dress. It's just like a wrap. I don't know. It was comfy. It works for me.
I'd be afraid of being too dirty.
I mean, if the dress is long enough, there's no dirt getting up there because you're
No, man, it's
the
just
ground.
like it's a
Matt's
broom.
out here
It's
wearing
fucking
mini skirts, so he's
no,
got his
it's
gooch on
sweeping
everything.
The fucking dirt up, man. It's just a little whirlwind underneath
All the air
there.
getting in there, getting the circulation.
Come
A
on,
little
dirty's your
condensation
house.
down there.
different ecosystem down there now.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
I think that's a good
Anyways,
place to end it.
Yeah, we ended on ball hygiene. Thanks for sticking around for our TED Talk on ball hygiene. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care.
Yeah.